Okay, everybody, our last type of reaction is a combustion reaction. To combust means to burn. And what burns? Fuel. Okay, so fuel are basically our hydrocarbons. They are our compounds that are made up of some kind of carbon, some kind of hydrogen, CXHY. They react with oxygen. You need oxygen in order to burn, and they're going to produce energy in the form of heat and light, and always make CO2 and always make water. So, in all of our relationships, they all have arguments. I don't care who you are definitely going to argue with someone in that relationship. So, things are going to get heated. So you take your hydrocarbon, CXHY plus O2, makes CO2 and H2O. You'll always make these two products. Be careful, all right? This kind of looks like a single replacement reaction, but it's not. So if you see carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen, CHO, CHO, you're going to make CO2 and H2O, okay? So be very careful with that one. All right, it doesn't matter what your hydrocarbon is, how much of each thing you have, you're always going to get the same result. Octane, which is, octane, which is your gasoline, is going to have 8 carbons and 18 hydrogens, and it needs oxygen in order to burn. And then you'll notice that we balanced out our 8 CO2s and our 9 H2Os and then counted up our oxygens. We have 16 here plus 9 here to get 25 total. So I need a 12.5 on that side. And yes, you can double the whole thing. Another thing to be very careful of is that sometimes we have some alcohols. All right, alcohols end in OH. It's a non-metal bonded to an OH, otherwise it would be a base. And methyl alcohol or methanol is CH3OH. And then I have O2 making CO2 and H2O. So be careful. You might see some extra O's in here in your fuel source. But you still balance it the same. You have 1 C, you have 3 plus 1 oxygens or hydrogens, which is 4. So I put a 2 in front of the H2O. And then you have O2 here and 2 O's here. So that's 4 oxygens on the right that you're going to need to balance out. You have 1 here that you already have, so I don't want to mess that up. So I need 3 more oxygens out of this O2. So I'm going to put in a 1.5 there in order to balance all of that out. Okay, so if you see a hydrocarbon CXHY plus O2, okay, you will always, always, always make CO2 and H2O. Okay, then you just balance out your equation. Does this mean that they're the only things that burn? No, you can have a metal burn also. But when metals burn, they are going to make a combination reaction. So just follow the steps for that, which is A plus B yields AB. And that means that you are going to basically just smush them together with whatever their ions are to make your neutral compound. So let's try these, all right? So we have C5H12 plus O2. This is a hydrocarbon. What am I going to make? CO2 and H2O. And then I have to go through and balance it. So practice our balancing. 5 here, I'm going to put a 5 out in front. 12 here, I'm going to put a 6 out in front here. So now it's the oxygens that are always tricky, okay? So be careful about your tricky oxygens. So here I have 5 O2s, so that's 10, plus another 6, give me 16 on the right-hand side. So I need to put, you guessed it, an 8 right there in order to balance them out. Okay, C8H18 plus O2 gives us CO2 and H2O. And just like we saw in the example, you would put an 8 in front of the CO2, a 9 in front of the H2O. 8 times 2 is 16, plus another 9, giving us 25 total. So this is going to be 12.5. Or if you don't like these fractions, you would double the whole thing. C8H18, I would need 2 of them, plus 25 O2s, make 16 CO2s and 18 H2Os in order to work that all the way through. And then we have our isopropyl alcohol, C3H7OH. Okay, 3 carbons is prop, and O2. We still make CO2 and H2O regardless. And to balance that out, I have 3 carbons, so that means I need 3 carbons on this side. I have 7 plus 1, meaning 8 hydrogens on the left, so I need to put a 4 here. And then how many oxygens are on the right? 3 times 2 is 6, plus another 4 is 10 oxygens. So I have 1 here. So if I have 10 that I already have, I have 10 that are needed to balance out. There's 1 that I already have that I don't want to mess up by putting any numbers out here. So I'm going to need 9 more from this O2. So I would put a 4.5 right there. And again, you can double that as well. Now, if you have a metal that will be burning, like magnesium, which is a sparkler, use your ions. Mg makes a 2 plus, O makes a 2 minus. Don't let diatomics fool you. And then you make MgO. And then you would balance it all out by putting a 2 there and a 2 there. Okay, so if you can't read my handwriting, check your answers right here. And you would end up getting those. Oops, this is a typo here. My bad. This is 4.5 for your O2. All right, so these all check out. CO2, H2O, if they are a hydrocarbon. If not, these are your synthesis reactions here. And that is our combustions. So watch all of the individual videos, and then we'll mix them all together.